Thoughts and the character. A manager is what he thinks, his character being the complete sum of all his thoughts. It's a plant that springs from and could not be without the seed. So every act of man springs from the hidden seeds of thought and could not have appeared without them. This applies equally to those acts called spontaneous and unpremeditated as to those which are deliberately executed. Godlike character is not a thing of favor or chance, but is the natural result of continued effort in right thinking, the effect of long cherished association with godlike thoughts. Man is made or unmade by himself, by the right choice and true application of thought. Man ascends to the divine perfection. Between these two extremes are all the grades of character, and man is their maker and the master. The man is a master of thought, the molder of character, and the maker and shaper of the condition, environment, and destiny. As a being of power, intelligence, and love, and the lord of his own thoughts, man holds the key to every situation and contains within himself that transforming and regenerative agency by which he may make himself what he wills. He then becomes the wise master, directing his energies with intelligence and fashioning his thoughts to fruitful issues. Such is the conscious master, and the man can only thus become by discovering within himself the loss of thought, which discovery is totally a matter of application, self-analysis, and experience. If he will dig deep into the mind of his soul, and that he is maker of his character, the molder of his life, and the builder of his destiny, if he will watch, control, and alter his thoughts, tracing their effects upon himself, upon others, and upon his life and circumstances, linking cause and effect by patient practice and investigation, and utilizing his every experience, even to the most trivial, everyday occurrence, as a means of attaining the knowledge of himself, which is understanding, wisdom, power. Effect of thought and circumstances. Man's mind may be likened to a garden, which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. But whether cultivated or neglected, it must and will bring forth. If no useful seeds are put into it, then an abundance of useless weed seeds will fall therein, and will continue to produce their kind. Just as a gardener cultivates his plot, keeping it free from weeds and growing the flowers and the fruits which he requires, so may a man tend the garden of his mind, weeding out all the wrong, useless, and impure thoughts, and cultivating toward perfection the flowers and the fruits of right, useful, and pure thoughts. By pursuing this process, a man sooner or later discovers that he is the master gardener of his soul, the director of his life. He also reveals within himself the loss of thought and understands with ever-increasing accuracy how the thought forces and mind elements operate in the shaping of his character, circumstances, and destiny. Thought and character are one. Beautiful. Thought and the character are one, as the character can only manifest and discover itself through environment and circumstance. The outer conditions of the person's life will always be found to be harmoniously related to his inner state. This does not mean that a man's circumstances at any given time are an indication of his entire character, but that those circumstances are so intimately connected within some vital element within himself that, for the time being, they are indispensable to his development. Every man is where he is by the law of his being. Ah, it's beautiful. Beautiful sentence. Every man is where he is by the law of his being. Oh my gosh. The thoughts which he has built into his character have brought him there, and in the arrangement of his life, there is no element of chance, but all is the result of law which cannot err. This is just a true of those who feel out of harmony with their surroundings, as of those who are contented with them. As a progressive and evolving being, man is where he is that he may learn, that he may grow, and as he learns a spiritual lesson, which any circumstances contains for him, it passes away and gives place into other circumstances. Man is buffeted by circumstances so long as he believes himself to be the creator of outside conditions, but when they realize that he is a creative power and that he may command the hidden soil and the seeds of his being out of which circumstances grow, he then becomes the rightful master of himself. That circumstances grow out of thought. Every man knows who has for any length of time practiced self-control and self-purification, for he will have noticed that the alteration in his circumstances has been in exact ratio with his altered mental condition. So true is this, that when a man earnestly applies himself to remedy the defects in his character and makes a shift and a marked progress, he passes rapidly through a succession of vicissitudes. Succession of vicissitudes. I never seen this vocabulary before. The soul attracts that which is secretly harbored, that which is loves, and also that which is fears. It reaches the height of its cherished aspirations. It falls to the level of its unhastened desires, and the circumstances are means by which the soul receives its own. Ever thus see the sun, and allow to fall into the mind, and to take root there, produces its own, blossoming sooner or later into act, and bearing its own fruits of opportunity and circumstance. Good thoughts bear good fruit, bad thoughts and bad fruit. The outer world of circumstances shapes itself to the inner world of thought, and both the pleasant and unpleasant external conditions are factors which make it for the ultimate good of the individual. As the reaper of his own harvest, man learns both by the suffering and the bliss, following the emotional desires, aspirations, thoughts, and by which he allows himself to be dominated, pursuing the will of the whips of an impure imaginings, and steadfast in walking to the highway of a strong and the high end of war, a man at least arrives at the fruition and the fulfillment in the outer conditions of his life. The loss of growth and adjustment everywhere obtains. A man does not come to the elm shores, elm shores of the jail by the tyranny of fate or circumstance, but by the passage of groveling thoughts and the base desires. Nor does a pure-minded man fall suddenly into the crime by stress of the mere external force The criminal thought headlong and secret foster in the heart. Definitely. And our opportunity revealed its gathered power. Circumstance does not make the man, it reveals him to himself. No such conditions can exist as descending into vice and its attendant sufferings and apart from the vicious inclinations, or ascending into virtue and its pure happiness without the continued cultivation of virtuous aspirations. And man, therefore, as the Lord and Master of thought, is the maker of himself, the shaper and author of environment. Even as birth, the soul comes to its own, and through every step of its earthly pilgrimage, it attracts those combinations of conditions which reveal itself, which are the reflection of its own purity and the impurity, its strength and the weakness. Men do not attract that which they want, but that which they are. Their whims, fancies, and ambitions are thwarted at every step, but their inmost thoughts and desires are fed with their own food. Being full or clean. The divinity that shapes our ends is in ourselves. It is our very self. Only himself. Miracles, man. Thoughts and actions are goalless and fate. They imprison being base. They are also angels of freedom. They liberate being noble. Not what he wishes and praises for does a man get, but what he justly earns. His wishes and prayers are only gratified and answered when they harmonized with his thoughts and actions. In the light of this truth, what then is the meaning of fighting against any circumstances? It means that a man is continually revolting against an apple without, while all the time he is nourishing and preserving its cause in his heart. That cause maybe take the form of a conscious vice or an unconscious weakness, but whatever it is, it stubbornly retards the efforts of its possessor, and thus causes a love for remedy. Men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. The man who does not shrink from self-crucifixion can never fail to accomplish the object upon which his heart is set. This is true of earthly of the heavenly things. Even the man whose in the soil object is an acquired wealth must be prepared to make great personal sacrifices before he can accomplish his object. And how much more so he who would realize a strong and well-poised life. Here is man who is wretchedly poor. He is extremely anxious that his surroundings and home comfort should be improved, yet all the time he shrinks his work and considers he is justified in trying to deceive his employer on the ground of insufficiency of his wages. Such a man does not understand the simplest rudiments of those principles which are the basis of true prosperity, and is not only totally unfitted to rise out of his wretchedness, but actually attracting to himself a still deeper wretchedness by dwelling in and acting out indolent, deceptive, and unmanly thoughts. Here is a rich man who is a victim of painful and persistent disease as a result of gluttony. Oh my god, all those examples are so negative and doom, so I don't want to read those things. Okay, here's an employer and labor who adopts a crook and measures to avoid paying the regulation wages, and in the hope of making larger profits, reduces the wages of his work people. I have introduced these three cases merely as illustrative of the truth that man is causer, though nearly always unconsciously, of his circumstances, and that, wistfully aiming at a good end, he is continually frustrating his accomplishment by encouraging thoughts and desires which cannot possibly harmonize with that end. Such seeds could be multiplied and varied almost indefinitely, but this is not necessary, as the reader can, if he so resolves, and trace the action of the loss of thought in his own mind and life, and until this is done, mere external facts cannot serve as a ground of reasoning. Circumstances, and however, are complicated, that is so deeply rooted at the conditions of happiness and vary so vastly with individuals, and that a man's entire soul condition, although it may be known to himself, cannot be judged by another form of external aspects of his life alone. A man may be honest in certain directions, yet suffer privations. A man may be dishonest in certain directions, yet acquire wealth. But the conclusion usually formed that the one man fails because in his particular honesty, and that the other prospers because of the particular dishonesty, is the result of a superficial judgment, which assumes that the dishonest man is almost totally corrupt, and the honest man is almost entirely virtuous. In the light of the deeper knowledge and wider experience, such judgment is found to be erroneous. The dishonest man may have some admirable virtues which the other does not possess, and the honest man obnoxious vices which are absent in the other. The honest man reaps a good result of his honest thoughts and acts. He also brings upon himself the sufferings which he vices and produce. The dishonest man likewise garners his own suffering and happiness. It is a plain to human vanity to believe that one suffers because of one's virtue, but not until a man has entire patted and every sickening, bitter, and impure thought from his mind, and watched every simple stand from his soul. Can he be in a position to know and declare that his suffering are the result of his good, and not of his bad qualities, and on the way to, yet long before, he has reached that supreme perfection, he will have found, working in his mind and life, in a great law which is absolutely just, and which cannot, therefore, give good for evil, evil for good. Possessed of such knowledge, he will then know, looking back upon his past ignorance and blindness, that his life is, and always was, and justly ordered, and that all his past experiences, and good and bad, were the equable outworking of his evolving, yet unevolved self. Good thoughts and actions can never produce any bad results. Bad thoughts and actions can never produce any good results. This is but saying that nothing can come from the corn but corn, nothing from the needles but needles. Men understand this law in the natural world and work with it, but a few understand it in the mental and moral world, though its operation there is just as simple and undeviating, and they therefore do not cooperate with it. Suffering is always an effect of wrong thought in some direction. Beautiful. It is an indication that an individual is out of harmony with himself, With the law of his being, the soil and the spring usually suffering is to purify, to burn out all that is useless and impure. Suffering ceases for him who is pure. Oh, there could be no object in burning gold after the dross has been removed, and the perfect, pure, and enlightened being could not suffer. Love his being. Okay. Oh my god, this chapter is too long. Okay, I can finish it or not? Okay, I can finish, of course. The circumstances which a man encounters with suffering are the results of his own mental inharmony. The circumstances which a man encounters with blessedness are the result of his own mental harmony. Blessedness in non-material possessions is the measure of right thought. Righteousness in not lack of a material possession is the measure of a wrong thought. A man may be cursed and rich. He may be blessed and poor. Blessedness and riches are not only joined together. When the riches are rightly and wisely used, the poor man only descends into wretchedness when he regards his lot as an burden unjustly imposed. Indigence and indulgence are the two extremes of wretchedness. They are both equally unnatural and the result of a mental disorder. A man is not rightly conditioned until he is unhappy, healthy, and the prosperous being, and the happiness, health, and the prosperity are the result of a harmonious adjustment of the inner with the outer, of the man with his surroundings. A man only begins to be a man when he ceases to win and rebel, and commences to search for an hidden justice, which regulates his life. And as he adapts his mind to that regulating factor, he ceases to accuse others as a cause of his condition, and builds himself up in the strong and noble thoughts, ceases to kick against circumstances, but begins to use them as aids to his more rapid progress and as a means of discovering the hidden powers and the possibilities within himself. Law, not confusion, is the dominating principle in the universe. Justice, not injustice, is the soul and the substance of life. And the rightness and not corruption is the molding and the moving force in the spiritual government of the world. Okay, it's too long, and then I try to read this in 2 pages, I think. Okay, man's mind may be linked to the garden which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. But whether cultivated or neglected, it must and will bring forth. If no usable season is put into it, then an abundance of useless and void season will fall therein and will continue to produce another kind. Okay. Just as a gardener cultivates his blood, keeping it free from weeds, and growing the flowers and fruits which he requires, so may a man tend to garden of his mind, weeding out all the wrong, useless, and impure thoughts, and cultivating toward the perfection of flowers and fruits of right, useful, and pure thoughts. And by pursuing this process, a man sooner or later discovers that he is the master gardener of his soul. Pure thoughts by pursuing this process. Okay. Master gardener of his soul, the director of his life. He also reveals within himself the laws of thought and understands with ever-increasing accuracy how that the forces of mind elements operate in the shaping of his character, circumstances, and destiny. Wow. How the thought forces and mind elements operate in the shaping of his character, circumstances, and destiny. Thought and character are one, and as a character can only manifest and discover itself through environment and the circumstance. The outer conditions in a person's life will always be bound to be harmoniously related to his inner state. This does not mean that a man's circumstances at any given time are the indication of his entire character, but then those circumstances are so intimately connected with some vital thought element within himself that, for the time being, they are indispensable to his development. Every man is aware he is vital of his being. The thoughts which he has built into his character have brought him there, and in the arrangement of his life there is no element of chance, but all is the result of a law which cannot err. This is just as true of those who feel out of harmony with their surroundings as of those who are contented with them. Now, as a progressive and evolving being, man is where he is that he may learn, that he may grow, and he learns a spiritual lesson which any circumstances contains for him. It passes away and it gives places to other circumstances. Okay. Effect of thought and circumstances. Man's mind may be likened to a garden, which may be intelligent and cultivated or allowed to run wild. By pursuing this process, a man sooner or later discovers that he is a master, governor of his soul, the director of his life. How the thought forces and mind elements operate in the shaping of his character, circumstances, and destiny. Thought and character are one, as in a character can only manifest and discover itself through environment and circumstance, and the outer conditions of a person's life will always be found to be harmoniously related to his inner state. Every man is where he is by the law of in his being. This is just as true of those who feel out of harmony with their surroundings as of those who are contented with them. As a progressive and evolving being, man is where he is that he may learn, that he may grow. And as he learns a spiritual lesson, which any circumstance and contains for him, it passes away and gives a place to other circumstances. Okay. It's a beautiful book, but it's kind of difficult for me to understand because it's a traditional writing style. But I just try to my best to understand and interpret all those kind of oh no, I'm sorry about that. Okay, I'll make it so it's Korean version. It's a beautiful book. 생각이 상황에 미치는 영향. 나의 생각, 나의 상황. 상황이 그 사람을 변화시킨 것이 아니라 그 circumstance, 상황이라는 것은 그 사람이 어떤 사람인지 그대로 보여준다. 사람의 마음은 지혜롭게 가꾸거나 야생으로 놔두는 정원에 비유될 수도 있습니다. 경작이 되었든 방치되었던 간에 정원이 생겨나야 하고 앞으로도 그럴 것입니다. 거기에 유용한 씨앗을 넣지 않으면 쓸모없는 잡초가 많이 떨어져서 그 씨앗들이 계속해서 생겨날 것입니다. 유용한 씨앗을 넣지 않으면, 그래서 책을 읽는 거죠. 쓸모없는 잡초. 정원사가 자신의 플롯을 가꾸고 잡초가 없도록 유지하며, 이런 쓸데없는 생각들이죠. 이 정원이 나의 마음이라고 생각한다면 자신이 필요로 하는 꽃과 과일을 재배하는 것처럼 사람은 마음의 정원을 가꾸고 잘못되고 쓸모없고 불순한 생각을 모두 제거하고, 맞아요, 옳고 유용하고 순수한 생각의 꽃과 과일을 완벽하게 가꾸는 일을 할 수 있습니다. 항상 책을 읽다 보면 지금에서야 이 책을 읽게 되었는데, 우리 사람의 마음을 정원으로 비유해서 책을 쓰신 분이 정말 많아요. 이 과정을 추구함으로써 조만간 한 사람은 자신이 영혼의 주인이자 삶의 책임자라는 것을 알게 됩니다. 그쵸? 이 과정을 추구함으로써 조만간 한 사람이 자신의 영혼의 주인이자 삶의 책임자라는 것을 알게 됩니다. 또한 그는 자신 안에서 사고의 법칙을 밝히고 사고력과 마음의 요소들이 그의 성격, 상황, 운명의 형성에서, 또한 그는 자신 안에서 사고의 법칙을 밝히고, 또한 그는 자신 안에서 사고하는 법칙을 밝히고 사고력과 마음의 요소들이 그의 성격, 상황, 운명의 형성에서 어떻게 작용하는지를 점점 더 정확하게 이해합니다. 그쵸? 맞아요. 보자. 다시 한번 읽어보기 조금 어려워요. 그는 자신 안에서 나의 사고의 법칙, 내가 왜 이런 생각을 하지? 내가 왜 이 생각이 떠올랐지? 이 생각을 끊어내야지. 그런 사고의 법칙을 밝히고 나의 사고력과 마음의 요소들이 그의 성격, 내가 생각하는 것, 나의 마음, 이런 것들이 나의 성격과 나의 상황과 나의 운명 형성이 어떤 작용을 하는지 점점 더 정확하게 이해합니다. 맞아요. 제가 이게 왜 원서가 어렵고 어제는 영어가 더 쉽고 이게 왜 더 한글어가 좀 더 쉬운 것 같죠? 이 책은? 너무 고전이라서 그런가 봐요. 사고와 성격은 하나이며 성격은 환경을 통해서만 자신을 드러내고 발견할 수 있기 때문에, 네, 흥분돼. 너무 좋아요. 제가 지금 고전책이라서, 근데 이 고전책을 읽으면 뭐냐면 내가 되게 겸손해져요. 너무 어려우니까 사람이 좀 겸손해지는 느낌이 있는데, 이 내용이었구나. 뭔가 좀 이게 애매모호하게 해석되었던 부분들을 이렇게 지금 명확하게 보니까 이해가 되네요. 근데 이 내용이 너무 좋다 보니까 약간 지금 떨리고 있어요. 설레이는 이 느낌. 오케이. 한 사람의 삶의 외부 조건은 항상 그의 내면 상태와 조화롭게 관련되어 있음을 발견할 수 있을 것입니다. 너무 어렵다. 그쵸? 나의 성격, 나는 어떤 사람인가? 내가 아주 성격이 아니라 내 지금 외부 조건 상태가 편안하고 조용하고 아무런 자극이 없는 그 상태에서 가지고 있는 성격도 나의 성격이 될 수 있지만, 어떤 자극적인 상태, 좀 불안정한 상태, 분노가 치밀 수 있는 상황에서 내가 어떤 모습을 하는지, 왜냐면은 그 환경이 나를 변화시킨 것이 아니라 그 환경이 내가 어떤 사람임을 명확하게 드러낸다고 하기 때문에 지금 이 모습을 얘기하는 것 같아요. 이 조금 쉽게 설명이 안 되는 게 내가 그만큼 완전히 이해를 못했다는 뜻이 되겠죠? 그래서 나의 사고, 내가 생각하는 것과 성격은 하나이며, 이 성격이라고 하는 것은 환경과 환경을 통해서만 자신을 드러내고 발견할 수 있기 때문에 한 사람의 삶의 외부 조건은 항상 그의 내면 상태와 조화롭게 관련되어 있음을 발견할 수 있을 것입니다. 이것은 한 사람의 어떤 주어진 상황이 그의 성격 전체의 지표라는 것을 의미하는 것이 아니라 그 상황들이 그 자신 안에 어떤 중요한 사고 요소와 매우 밀접하게 연결되어 당분간 그것들은 그의 발전에 필수적인 것입니다. 와, 한글로도 쉽지가 않아요. 조금 어려워요. 이게 지금 너무 어렵다 보니까 에너지가 엄청나게 소비되는 느낌? 여기까지 읽어야 될 것 같아요. 무리하지 말고. 오케이. 생각이 상황에서 미치는 영향. 사람의 마음은 지혜롭게 가꾸거나 야생으로 놔두는 정원에 비유될 수 있습니다. 나의 마음은 지금 어떤 모습을 하고 있는가? 이미지로 그려본다면 예쁘고 아름답게 꾸며진 정원인 것인가? 아니면은 가꾸지 않아서 막 잡초들이 무성하게 나 있는 그런 정원인가? 예쁘고 아름답게 꾸며가는 과정이라고 할 수 있겠죠? 경작이 되었던 방치되었던 간에 정원이 생겨나야 하고 앞으로도 그럴 것입니다. 거기에 유용한 씨앗을 넣지 않으면 쓸모없는 잡초가 많이 떨어져 그 씨앗들이 계속해서 생겨날 것입니다. 정원사가 자신의 플롯을 가꾸고 잡초가 없도록 유지하며 자신이 필요로 하는 그 꽃과 과일을 재배하는 것처럼 사람은 마음의 정원을 가꾸고 잘못되고 쓸모없고 불순한 생각을 모두 제거하고 옳고 유용하고 순수한 생각에 꽃과 과일을 완벽하게 가꾸는 일을 할 수 있습니다. 이 과정을 추구함으로써 조만간 한 사람은 자신이 영혼의 주인이자 삶의 책임자라는 것을 알게 됩니다. 또한 그는 자신 안에서 사고의 법칙을 밝히고 사고력과 마음의 요소들이 그의 성격, 상황, 운명의 형성에서 어떻게 작용하는지를 점점 더 정확하게 이해하게 됩니다. 사고와 성격은 하나이며 성격은 환경과 환경을 통해서만 자신을 드러내고 환경을 통해서 나를 드러낸다. 환경을 통해서 나를 드러낸다. 발견할 수 있기 때문에 한 사람의 삶의 외부 조건은 항상 그의 내면 상태와 조화롭게 관련되어 있음을 발견할 수 있습니다. 그렇기 때문에 엘리트 같은 경우에는 고요할 수 있는 그 환경 설정을 한다라는 거죠. 이것은 한 사람의 어떤 주어진 상황이 그의 성격 전체를 지표하는 것을 의미하는 것은 아닙니다. 오케이. 진짜 조금 어려우면 힘이 드네요. 확실히 에너지를 좀 많이 쓰는 것 같아요. 이해를 깊이 하려고 하다 보니까. Where is this one? Okay, effect of thought on circumstances. Man's mind may be likened to be a garden which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. But whether cultivated or neglected, it must and will bring forth. If no usable seeds are put into it, then abundance of useless weed seeds will fall therein and will continue to produce their kind. Just as gardener cultivates his plot, keeping it free from weeds and growing the flowers and fruits which he requires, so may a man tend to a garden of his mind, weeds out all the wrong, useless, and impure thoughts, and cultivating toward perfection the flowers and fruit of bright, useful, and pure thoughts. By pursuing this process, a man sooner or later discovers that he is the master, gardener of his soul, the director of his life. He also reveals it within himself the laws of thought and understands with ever-increasing accuracy how the thought forces and mind elements operate in the shaping his character and circumstances and destiny. Thought and the character are one, and as character can only manifest and discover itself through environment and the circumstance, the outer condition of the person's life will always be found to be harmoniously related to his inner state. This does not mean that a man's inner circumstances at any given time are an indication of his entire character, but that those circumstances are so intimately connected with some vital thought element with himself that, for the time being, they are indispensable to his development. Every man is where he is by the law of his being. Okay. I think this is enough for that. Okay, here. Okay, I think I make it this here. Thought and character 1. An external character can only manifest and discover itself through environmental circumstances. The other conditions in a person's life will always be found to be harmoniously related to his inner state. Okay, that's true, that's true. How long has you been reading for this English version of book? I don't know, I feel a little bit tired. Okay, 41 minutes, that's why. Okay, I see. Okay, good job, Irene. Love you.